right. Hey, now, y'all, listen up, man. This is a special, very special installment of the PMP show. It's the kind of show like I never really wanted to do. It's the kind of show I'm not really prepared to do mentally, physically, spiritually. But when you lose somebody like Bob Weir, I guess this is the right thing to do. It's maybe the only thing we can do, which is kind of get ourselves together, get this little group together, exchange some stories, tell some stories, exchange some memories, and just kind of honor the spirit and the memory and the life of Bob Weir, man, founding member of the Grateful Dead. I always felt a very close kinship to Bobby. I think a lot of people felt that way. And watching everybody line up tonight, great to see everybody. Thanks for stopping by. This is going to be a Bobby-specific show. We're not really getting into Niners, nothing. It's just going to be Bob. And Bobby, listen, Bobby loved his 49ers. Bobby loved his Warriors. Bobby loved his Giants. I mean, he was a Bay Area sports fan, San Francisco sports fan. And that has been now made national news because ESPN, they did another tribute tonight during the Steeler game. They came out of break in the first half playing Sugar Magnolia, and then Joe Buck, of all people, was singing the praises of Bob Weir. It was really cool to hear that. So the tributes continue to pour in from all kind of corners of the universe. I have personally heard from a lot of people, friends, people I haven't talked to in a long time, people that just have that connection with me, with the Grateful Dead, and people I've logged some miles with. And Tony and I were trying to figure out what's the best thing to do here. So we're going to do a little show for Bobby tonight. We have a bunch of guests lined up, and these are just guests from the kind of Grateful Dead scene, people we know, friends of ours, people we've seen shows with. Some of them you will know, some of them you're going to meet for the first time on the show tonight. But Tony, I just figured this is the right thing to do, man. Drop anchor. Let's talk about Bob Weir a little bit tonight, and remember the good times, because there is an abundance of good times.
Yeah,
he left us with, and a lifetime catalog of music that we can enjoy from now until the end of our days, man. So how you doing, Big T?
I'm all right, man. I really enjoyed our show today at noon, the High Noon Show, which we'll be back tomorrow at high noon with our regular show. It was cathartic for me because Captain Leisure, who's on the chat often on our show, aka Charlie Neri, he's the one that texted me on Saturday, and when I got the text, it was like a gut punch like never before, man. And it was one of the things like, no, wait, what? No, no, what? And so then, of course, I looked it up, and then when I read it, it was like this full body chill kind of went through me of like, wow, that is really hitting me really hard. And I will say, I was thinking about Bobby during that entire Niner game yesterday, and when they won, it was something like, yeah. Of course they pulled it out. Like that's some Bobby vibes in that win, and just combining the way Bobby used to combine sports and music. It was a good combination in my head of sports and music yesterday. But and then I'm driving to my car home on Saturday night from a school function after being with Neil Donardi, one of our sponsors, Longbridge Pizza. And dude, out of nowhere on my Apple Music Shuffle, Bobby 329.90 Masterpiece, a live version of Masterpiece comes on, and Bobby just used to just crush that song, and so it just really kind of like shed a tear. And then I did it to myself, Paulie, where I was going to bed. I'm like, you know what? I need to hear Bobby doing "Standing on the Moon" because obviously I love Jerry's version, of course, but I like what Bobby has done, that he continues to play that song, first of all, after Jerry left us, and then the way Bob would sing it. And I saw him play it at the Sphere, and the way he would just wail, "Wanna Be With You," and like they had the reverb and the echo, and super powerful. And the last time I saw Bob was with my dad at the Sphere. It was just very spitting, and it hit me hard. And then talking to you and knowing, dude, I owe a lot of it to you, man, because I was a touch head, as they said back in high school. And then you kind of showed me the way, late bloomer. I never saw Jerry live, but I saw Bobby a ton. And so and you said this, Paulie, and I want you to talk about this more tonight, that he was always the kid of the band.
Yeah.
And I don't know, with that came for me in my mind was just like this, illogical sense of immortality, right? And when somebody like that physically leaves us, it's just like, wow, wild stuff. So, Paulie, let's do our best to, just pay tribute to one of the greatest musicians, people, humanitarians, whatever, just one of the greatest.
Yeah, I appreciate all that, Tony. I do. And I was happy that I got to open that door for you, man. I mean, it was like we got to see, the funny thing is, like, I don't know what am I, second generation Deadhead, third generation, and now we're on the fourth, fifth, and sixth. Like, we're gonna have a guest on tonight. One of our guests is gonna be one of my old producers at KMBR. You guys know him, you love him, Triple E, Eric Engel. He was actually interviewed on the news the other night because he went to 710 Ashbury on Saturday night, as did a lot of people. And the news cameras, they caught up with Triple E and they interviewed him, and I heard he did really well. But just to talk about like the run you had like a 30-year run with Bobby. I mean, that's that's the length of the Grateful Dead's existence, 30 years. Then he put in another 30 after that with his own bands and Dead and Company and Rat Dog and the other ones and all these different formations over the years. But the thing at the center of it was always the music. And Rags, I saw you post that quote from Black Throated Wind before the show started. And that's one thing, Tony, I was thinking of. You can almost like break Bobby up into like different like kind of identities. I'll give you an example. Yeah. There's like the Bob Weir that sings all the Bob Dylan songs, right? Mm-hmm. There's Masterpiece. There's Desolation Row. There's Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. There's Ballad of a Thin Man. Like he did all these Bob Dylan songs. Then you got Cowboy Bob. You got Me and My Uncle. You got Big River. You got Mexicali Blues. That's Cowboy Bob. You got El Paso. Then you got Psychedelic Warrior Bob. You got the other one. You got Saint of Circumstance. You got Lost Sailor. You got Playing in the Band. And then you just got the flat out four on the floor rocking Bob Weir, because he used to end a lot of Grateful Dead sets rocking with like a One More Saturday Night or Sugar Mags or any number of those songs, man. Like the ballads, Looks Like Rain, Black Throated Wind. I mean, there's just like his canon of songs is really in so many different kind of categories and genres. It's hard to like pinpoint him and say he was this, he was this. He was a lot of things. And musically, he was like a chameleon, and he was always up for a jam.
Great call.
Yeah, he did everything. I mean, the guy did everything, really, musically speaking. And I will say this, Tony, not that this is a big deal because I picked up a guitar. It's not that at all. But I will say this before, like, I remember the exact day, the exact show, the exact song where I was out in the audience and I was watching the Dead and I was watching Bobby and I was like, I think I want to do that. Yeah. I think I want to do, because I knew, like, because I should clarify this. So my entire life before coming to California, my musical identity was always that of a drummer. Like my primary instrument is the drums. And when I was in New Jersey, I was in a bunch of different bands playing drums. And I never thought to pick up a guitar, Tony. It was never like a thought in my head. And I was at Foxborough, 7/14/90. Great show, by the way. Outstanding show, summer show. And I was standing out there on the field and I'm watching Bobby, and they were playing Memphis Blues by Bob Dylan. And Bobby was singing that song. And I was like, I don't know, man. I think I want to try this. I think I want to get a guitar. I want to start singing some songs. And he is the reason that I actually picked up a guitar in the first place, Bob, because you watch Jerry Garcia, you're like, I know I can't do that. Right. There's no way I'm going to be able to do that. Same with Phil, same with all those guys. But there was something about Bobby that connected with me when I was like, you know what? There's something about like strumming chords, singing songs, like that's appealing to me. So he really was the reason, Tony, that I picked up a guitar in the first place.
Did you read Mickey Hart's tribute? Actually talks about Bob's long fingers.
Yeah.
And the very unique chords that Bob would play, and that actually influenced Jerry's soloing.
Oh, no question.
I thought that was fascinating. Yeah. And and his style of like how he would interject his own sound into the songs is so wild. And then also like John Bell, the singer for Widespread Panic, I love his voice because it's like a raspy whiskey drinking voice, and Bob sometimes would get into that realm of, like you say, Cowboy Bob or whatever. Like Jack Straw for me is one of my favorite just Grateful Dead songs, let alone Bob Weir songs.
Me too. Yeah.
And I just freaking love that song, and that kind of, we can share the women, we can share the wine. Like, come on, dude. Like, and then I don't know. you could just go on. And also later, Bob, like Helena Bucket, throwing stones.
Throwing Stones used to rock. Dude, I saw Throwing Stones rock many an arena, many a stadium over the years. Throwing Stones generally going into Not Fade Away, maybe into a Love Light. But yeah, Throwing Stones. I mean, that was Bobby wrote a lot of classic Grateful Dead songs like in his career. And so again, I'm just like different things. I will say this real quick. I'll tell one quick story because I think a lot of people have their own kind of Bobby encounters, Bobby stories to tell. Example, I talked to Jeff Faust this afternoon, who is a good friend of ours. You know him from the Freestone Peaches. He's been on the show before. He was really rattled, man. He was really rattled by the death of Bobby. And he got to, in fact, if you have that picture, throw it up here. This is the thing. Bob Weir was always up for a jam up here in the North Bay, especially. Like he was always hanging around looking for somebody to jam with, sitting in with different bands. And there's Jeff far in the back with the orange sweatshirt on in the bass. He's got Bobby right there. And he told me the story about this. He said they were all jamming and he started dropping the bass intro to the other one. And he said Bobby picked up on it immediately. And then bam, they were off into the other one. And Jeff Faust kind of started that thing. And I'll tell a similar story. And Jeff, thanks for the contribution, man. Great to hear from you. I hope you're feeling better. I know a lot of people are really rattled by this one, man. And there was something about Bobby being the young guy in the band, like you said, Tony, where it was always just assumed that he was out there gigging somewhere. Like, and the fact that like Bobby's not out there anymore is somehow very unsettling to me because all these years, like, you know, no matter what was going on, Bob Weir was as reliable as the mailman, you know, like he was always there delivering, man. So it's going to be a new world, man. It's going to be a whole different world without Bob Weir. I am lucky I got to meet him a couple of times over the years, 2 or 3 times over the years. And the one night I got to play with him at Sweetwater. I'll just give you the quick distilled version of that. I think it was in 2019. And Bill Walton had asked me to do a Q&A with him. Bill was promoting a book. He wrote his autobiography and he was on a book tour. And when he came to San Francisco, there's the shot. Right there's Bill on drums in the back. So Bill was like, Paul, I want you to do a Q&A with me at Sweetwater. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk about basketball and life and the Grateful Dead. And then he's like, but when we are finished with our Q&A, he goes, I brought a Grateful Dead cover band up from San Diego. There are some buddies of him from San Diego. And he was like, you're going to have to sit in with the band. You'll have to play. I'm like, done. You got it, brother. You got it. So I actually got to open the show. So Bill and I did like an hour on stage together, and that was a treat unto itself. Bill Walton, I miss him dearly. It does bring me some joy, though, knowing that Phil, Bobby, and Brent and Walton, they're all together. Jerry, they're all hanging out now, thank God. But this night, after I did the Q&A, the band set up. I remember this. I did Cold Rain and Snow with them. I did the vocal on Cold Rain and Snow, and then they just started playing all along the Watchtower. I didn't know that was going to happen, so then we were playing Watchtower, and I was so wrapped up in the jam that Jeff Chimenti, who is right to the right, you can't see him. He's right out of the frame of the shot here. He's over there by the sax player, Dave Ellis. I was like, Tony, I was like fixated on Chimenti. I was like watching him play. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. I'm playing with Jeff Chimenti. And then all of a sudden I look over and Bobby is on stage playing. Like I didn't even see him come up. I didn't, because he wasn't up there when we did Cold Rain and Snow. I'm coming up, y'all. And all of a sudden I look over and he's standing there playing, looking at me. And I was like, ooh, because we locked eyes a couple of times. And that was pretty crazy, man, to be standing there with a guitar on and throwing it back and forth with Bobby's. It's just something I'll never forget. But it speaks to him like not many, Tony, quote unquote, rock stars are going to be doing stuff like this, playing with Jeff Faust, playing with Polly Mack. But that's it. Bobby was about the music. He was always up for the music. And I was just lucky to share the stage with him. And that is a big, thrill for me. And it will always be a special memory for me, Tony.
Oh my God, man. That was, yes. Thank you for sharing that, by the way, Paulie. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier today off the show, or, pre-show, is that he would jump on stage with anybody that invited him. He was always willing to play. He did stuff with the guys from Fish, and I love Fish, but I just loved, like you said, he's all about the music. He just wanted to play, and he wasn't about the rock star.
No,
it wasn't.
He was anti. He was anti-rock star. Yeah, he was not into that whole star trip thing at all.
Yeah, and also he was a handsome dude, you know, and also like really fit and rocking the Daisy Dukes. And
to the point where the New York Times yesterday, I don't know how many of you saw this, the New York Times, they ran several kind of pieces about Bob Weir. Tony, one of them was all about Bobby wearing Daisy Dukes.
Yeah.
It said like he's a connoisseur of the short, and they wrote like an entire piece about it. I'm like, oh my God, Bobby would be laughing his ass off if he could see this. But you're right. No, he was like the handsome guy in the band. Yeah. The ladies love Bobby because he was single most of his life. He married Natasha maybe 25 years ago, and they've been together ever since. And my heart goes out to Natasha and his girls. I know this is a really hard time for them, and they're a very lovely family, and they're going to be okay. But I know this is a really, really hard time for them. And unexpected, Tony. No, like people were not. That's one of the reasons this is hitting so hard.
Yeah.
It wasn't like some long illness. Dude, the last shows he ever played turned out to be the shows he did in Golden Gate Park. And not many people really knew he was ill at that point. So the fact that he was gone a few months later was one of the reasons it's so shocking.
I think it was Trey Anastasio's tribute online that said, and I didn't know this, but that Bobby went through treatment in July before those shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was diagnosed before those shows, and then rocked that weekend away with all those was it Billy Strings and Sturgill Simpson and Trey Anastasio, and it's like nobody in the entire venue would have thought those would be the last shows ever. For Bob Weir.
No, certainly not.
Right, and I remember you had mentioned to me off air, you know, that you heard maybe that he wasn't doing that well, but that I didn't think. Right. That kind of not well.
Me too.
You know?
Same here.
And it's just, that's what's so shocking and so just heartbreaking about it. And boy, does he leave a legacy, Paulie. And all of this, the Grateful Dead, you know, mothership leaves such a legacy. Yeah. And I feel so fortunate. And I want to thank you and the others like that steered me in that direction. Because for the longest time, I was Pearl Jam, I was rock and roll, and then, you know, as they say, the doors.
Hey, you can be both, buddy. You can be both. You know,
totally.
Yeah.
But my doors of perception were opened, you know, at a certain time of my life and changed everything. And here we are today, just paying tribute to him, man. And I just want to do a little bit of business, Paulie, just to let you know, people, we have Bonnie Scarlet Fire waiting in the wings in the green room. We're going to
get. I got one more thing I want to do, and then we'll bring on Bonnie. But go ahead. Well,
I was going to say just a list of people that we're going to bring on. We're going to bring on Bonnie Scarlet Fire. Then we're going to bring on Triple E, Eric Engel, who you know, is a dear friend of our show, and a longtime colleague. And also we're going to bring on our dear friend Allie Medina, who Allie, besides you, Paulie, is probably the biggest Bob Weir fan I know. Yeah. And it's funny. Paulie and I were talking like, hey, who should we get on? And we both mentioned Allie's name at the same time.
She's a Bobby gangster. I've bumped into Allie at a bunch of Bobby shows over the years. She's always up for it, and keep it coming. Who else is on the list?
Yeah, then we've got maybe Tom Stack, who used to work for the Grateful Dead, and then also Aaron Redner, our dear friend from Hot Buttered Rum, and also the Grateful Bluegrass Boys, who's played with Bobby. And then we're going to wrap it up with Jeff Winkler, a.k.a. Winks. So your longtime friend and also a fellow Weirhead Deadhead. So quick
show and tell with a couple of my favorite Bobby items, and then we'll get to our first guest of the night. So speaking of Winks, we'll get him on the show later. Over the years, Winks, when the Grateful Dead were playing, Winks would be selling stickers, he'd be selling shirts, he'd be doing whatever he had to do to get from one show to the next. And this is a shirt he made later in life, but it might be one of his finest pieces of work. I'm afraid to even wear this thing. It's so badass. He made a shirt when the Warriors were in the finals one year, and he said he calls it the Golden State Weiriers. Check this out.
Oh, that's right, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Look at this one.
That thing is incredible.
Yeah, the Golden State Weiriers, bro. That's right, y'all.
That is. I forgot about that thing. I remember you showed me that before, and I'm like, that thing's gold.
I'm afraid to wear it. It's gonna. I don't want to jinx it. So I love my Golden State Warriors. And then this is something I got at Madison Square Garden when the Dead were doing a 6-night run in October of '94. There was we were just like sitting there between sets, and like some girl came by. She was like handing all these out. So check that. I still have this. And she was handing out these things. Tomorrow is Bob Weir's birthday. Please join us in singing Happy Birthday, Dear Bobby.
Nice.
As soon as the Dead walk on stage before their opening song. How about this, dude? Bobby's 47th birthday is Sunday, 1994. Look at that at the bottom. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's great. Where was that show, Paulie?
That was at Madison Square Garden.
MSG, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and this girl's just like walking around like an office clerk, like handing these out to people. Yeah.
Paulie, you should frame both of those things, the T-shirt and that. You should think about framing those, man. Like those are both like such rare pieces of
Dead history.
Bob Weir history.
Well,
you might want to think about framing those, man. Those are incredible, dude.
The last thing I'm going to show is probably the most like sentimental, important Grateful Dead thing I have, because there was one occasion where, Tony, this is 2002. I was working on K-San at that time on the Bone, and the guys in the Grateful Dead, all four of them came in: Phil, Bobby, Mickey, and Billy, because they were doing, if you guys know the nationally syndicated show called Rockline, they were doing like an interview that was broadcast nationally, and they had just released this box set in 1999. So this thing's a couple of years old at that time, and I was like, I made sure I was in the room, dude. You know what they did, Tony? They opened up the conference rooms and they did the interview in the conference room. Nice. They had like everything was wired up and ready to go. I think Jerry Pacitti was behind that, engineering that whole.
Jerry.
Yeah. And so, dude, I walked up and I was like, "Hey, you guys, would you mind signing my box set?" And this is probably like my crown jewel of all Dead pieces. So look at this, dude. This is all four of those guys. You see Phil and Bobby up on top.
Yeah, dude.
And then on the bottom, you can see Mickey and Mickey and Billy on the bottom, but Phil and Bobby on top. And like that, this is like my greatest Dead piece right there.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah,
and they all their signatures are legible too, which is nice too.
Yeah. Look at Mickey's. Like Mickey's is downright handsome. You know what I mean?
Totally. You can actually read what they say, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too cool, dude.
So, and I know I'm not alone. I know all of us have stuff like this, but I just wanted to share that with you guys, because those are a couple of pieces that I always will kind of hold special, you know, with my encounters with them. And then last thing, this is just a funny one-off. I think I've said this on the show before, but at Sweetwater, at Sound Summit up on Mount Tam, I think it was the year Dr. John was there, like 2017, 2018, something like that. Bobby, over the years, like I ran into him enough times and I was introduced to him enough times that I think he knew me as like, "Oh, you're that sports guy, yo." So every time he saw me, he would want to talk. Well, he loved talking Niners. So this is what he said to me that day. I was like, and this is pre-Shanahan, I think. This is pre-Shanahan. So I was like, dude, he was like, "What do you think, man? What do you think about the Niners?" And I go, "Well, you know, we got a lot of work to do. We got to rebuild. We could use a good wide receiver." And I'll never forget this. This is what he said. He goes, "Far as I can see it, we're a Megatron away." Yeah, he did. He said that to me. "We're a Megatron away from having a winning season." Yeah.
Paulie, I remember having him on with you and then being like, you and I being like, "Oh my God, that thing is chock full of sound bites," and cutting those up.
Yeah.
And, like, "Oh, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah."
Yeah.
And "That's not Niner ball," and Black 85, and "Oh, you go to the Deuce, the 2 a.m. club." Like,
after the game, we go down to the Deuce. Yeah. He's the most casual dude of all time. Do you remember this? During the pandemic, I got Bobby and Ronnie Lott on the phone at the same time talking to each other. And like Bobby was thrilled. He'd never met Ronnie before. So
that's probably one of the most nervous days of COVID for me, Paulie, because we were doing that you were doing it from your house, right?
Yeah.
And I was doing it from my house. And I'm like, "Oh my God, if this fails with Ronnie Lott and Bob Weir, I'm going to lose my mind, man."
Yeah.
So glad that worked out. But man, we can keep the show rolling, man. We've got a lot of people. And like, it's funny, in an email to all of our guests, I said, this is a loose schedule because we're keeping it loose, just like Bobby. So
let's start it up, though. Let's start it up with the guest. Let's bring in our first guest. I think it is going to be Bonnie, right? This is our lovely Bonnie. So from our very own PMP community, you guys know her, you love her. Her handle on the show, and the idea here is we'll spend about 10 minutes with each guest, just tell a couple of stories, your memories, your feelings, and we'll just keep the conveyor belt moving. But we start with Scarlet Fire herself. Let's bring her on. Let's bring on Bonnie. And she is one of the kind sis. Yeah, Bonnie, how you doing tonight, kid? How you feeling? You all right?
I'm hanging in there, Paulie. I'm feeling better today than I was yesterday.
It's been hard, Bonnie. I'm not going to lie. It's been really this has been a tricky one, man. I think all of us are really rattled by this, but it's nice to see your face. Tell me about some of the thoughts and feelings you've been having.
Well, so many, right?
Yeah.
Very emotional. I mean, like Tony, I was really shocked at how hard I took it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was very surprised. I
Yeah.
didn't see it coming at all. And so it just really hit me hard. I was kind of shocked by that. And I was in shock about the whole thing for a while. So I was at the Sharks game with my son who was home from college. And so I wasn't looking at my phone.
Oh
And
man.
then we left the game and I was like, oh, I got a million texts. What's going on? And all of a sudden I read it and I was so surprised. He's like, Mom, are you okay? And I was like, honey, I need you to drive. Like, I can't drive right now.
Yeah.
I need to see what's happening. And so then he drove us home and I just was sort of sorting through everything.
Yeah.
I just want to say for those that don't know, Bonnie also goes by Scarlet Fire here on the show.
Oh, yeah.
And Bonnie, one of her greatest contributions to the show so far was her ticket stub segment when she came on and presented a bunch of your ticket stubs from back in those the many dead shows that you saw.
Yeah.
So Bonnie, thank you for that segment. We've gotten a lot of great feedback from that segment, but also thanks for coming on tonight because as we were texting for the show, we knew it wasn't going to be easy, but this is very therapeutic for everybody, for all of us. So, do you have any special memories or shows that are just like, yes, that was a Bobby night that I'll never forget?
Yeah. Well, of course I thought about this because I knew I was going to be on the show. So I was like, I better think about something to talk about. And I really have to say it was the first show I ever went to, which was April 17th, 1983.
Oh, at the Meadowlands. I know it well. Yeah.
I was a junior in high school. I was 16 years old. So now everybody knows how old I am. So there you go.
You're good.
And, whatever. It's unimportant detail. But I remember going, and I just went because it was like what a lot of the kids at my school did. And so I thought it seemed like a fun idea. It was a Sunday night show. And they say, never miss a Sunday night show.
That's right.
And so I went first time on a Sunday. And the thing that struck me was being there and realizing that there was a way to be in the world that I had not previously experienced.
Nice.
And as a young girl, a teenage girl, it opened my eyes to a whole way of treating other people and walking through the world, how to be a human being.
Yes.
In a way that I had just never seen.
Yes.
Or even known about. And I fell in love instantly with the whole thing. And I think Bobby, for me, I remember him very clearly at that show. Of course, he was also quite young. And as you said, very cute, really handsome. All the girls love, ooh, Bobby. Everybody loved Bobby. But I think the thing about him in particular, for somebody like me at that age, was he felt so safe. He was like adorable and cute and crush worthy. But there was nothing at all threatening or scary about him or anybody else. And so you could walk around that place and feel very comfortable and safe and like you could be yourself. And I felt like I can be me here. And I don't have to worry about, I'm sure it wasn't perfect and I'm sure things occasionally would happen, but in my experience, it was a very safe environment, even at that age, at that vulnerable age. And that feeling continued all throughout until now, until in August in Golden Gate Park. And I would say at that show, I didn't do anything particularly heroic. You know what I mean? But later I did. And I was thinking about how when you're in that state, and I hope it's okay for me to talk about this.
Go for it.
Come on, absolutely.
When you're in that state, in that mind expanded state. Right? And there's so much happening up here. You're very vulnerable. You're so vulnerable to any outside influences because you just have completely taken all of your guard down and all of your protection, and you're wide open to the world. Your heart's wide open, your mind's wide open. And to be in an environment where you can consistently do that and feel taken care of, feel safe, feel supported, and feel this warm embrace is such an incredibly special thing that I can honestly say I have never felt at any other place in my life.
That's a beautiful thought to share. It really is. And I'm glad I had no idea you were going to take that direction, but I know exactly what you're saying. I really do. I've heard other women say the same thing, where at any given rock concert, you got predators, you got people looking to take advantage of you. Grateful Dead scene was never like that. We all took care of each other. If somebody goes down, you help that person up and get them on their way. Yeah. You know, it's funny. You're saying all this about being a young girl in the middle of the Grateful Dead experience. Karen Bell is saying the exact same thing. She says that was my experience too, Bonnie.
Nice.
So it's like the fact that they did, and you're right, like they did show Bonnie, same here. Like when I stumbled into the Grateful Dead scene, it showed me a whole new world that was going on that was right under my nose, and I never really noticed it. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, this is where I need to be, right freaking here. Yeah. And you get to be whoever you want to be with no judgment. Like no one's looking to judge you. No one's looking to like take anything from you. We are all just able to be like our own person. There's a lot of value in that idea.
Mm-hmm. Weirder the better. Like weirder the better. We're here for you.
Oh yeah.
Now, I know you have a lot of other people wanting coming on the show. You're going to have on the show, but I just want to say maybe one other thing.
Sure.
Is that I can say with total confidence, and I think that a lot of people can say with total confidence, that I would not have the life I have, be the person I am. I wouldn't have the family that I have. I wouldn't live here if it was not for the Grateful Dead. I know that some people might roll their eyes and think like, how could you possibly say something about a bunch of these men didn't know you? Like, doesn't matter. No. It had such a profound effect on me and my values, the way I treat other people, what I choose to do for a career. The Grateful Dead and that whole ethos became the yardstick by which I measured all other people that I met. And if you didn't measure up to that kind of kindness and open-mindedness and warmth, I didn't want to have anything to do with you.
Yeah.
It was a filter that I was just running people all the time to, and boy, you two came right through the filter. Let me tell you.
Yeah. We came right through.
I was like, if you don't match this vibe, then I don't really need to spend a lot of time with you.
Right.
And I think it's allowed me to form friendships and a community that I value so highly, including this one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I would say that's maybe my favorite thing, but yeah.
Well, Bonnie, I want to say I appreciate that, and I don't think that's a crazy thought at all. Some of that was part of my thinking in moving back to San Francisco too. When I came back in '96, it was right after Jerry died, and I was living in New Jersey, and I was like, I don't know what's going to happen with the Dead from this point on, but whatever does happen, I want to be right there. I want to be like right in the middle, and that's what I did. I moved back to San Francisco. I lived in the city. I spent years going to see Bobby and Rat Dog at the Fillmore and at the Warfield or wherever he'd be gigging. And it was a move that I totally understand when you say that as part of your like criteria, part of your thinking. Like it is a good measuring stick because the Dead are not about like bullshit. You know what I mean? Right. And if you're about bullshit, you're not going to make it through. You're just not. You're not going to survive it. So Bonnie, listen, I love you so much. Thanks for coming on tonight and just giving us a couple of minutes. I think everybody really appreciated your words, and just keep your chin up, kid. We'll get through it. It's just hard right now, but a little bit easier when people like yourself stop by. So thank you, Bonnie.
Absolutely. Yes, Bonnie, thank you so much. And I relate to that too, that sense of pride. Like last thing for me, Bonnie, before you say goodnight and then move on in the show is that when I went and saw them at the Sphere in March, it's like having that sense of pride that this is the band from San Francisco. And anytime you saw them outside of the Bay Area, you're like, yeah, I felt like a great sense of pride that they were from my hometown, So I hear what you're saying. And thank you so much for coming on, Bonnie. I know it wasn't easy, but hopefully it helped. Like Paulie said, hopefully
she was awesome. Bonnie, you were awesome. Thank you, dear. We'll see you tomorrow. Mwah.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Night. There she goes. That's Scarlet Fire, everybody. We love Bonnie. She's one of our great. In fact, one of those great kind of symbiotic Grateful Dead moments happened with me and Bonnie during the Golden Gate Park shows. I've told this before, but I think it was the first day and my phone's blowing up. Paulie, where are you? Paulie, where are you? Meet me over here by the, the lemonade stand or whatever. There's like 70,000 people. I'm like, I don't know where anybody is. And all of a sudden I was sitting there between sets, and I'm sitting on the ground on my little blanket, on my Buster Hugs blanket, by the way. Nice. True story. So I was sitting on my Buster blanket, and all of a sudden I look up, and Bonnie's standing right there. I go, Bonnie, what's up? Yeah. So Bonnie and I found each other, as two people do in the dead scene. You can't like make that stuff up. In fact, here's another one. Let me give you another one of those strange but true Grateful Dead tales, and we'll get on to our next guest. Who's next? Triple E?
Triple E, and I want to segue to Triple E when you're done, because I have a good segue.
Okay, so true story. I know a lot of Deadheads, like we all have a million of these, but here's a good one. I was out in Oakland in 91 I came out with my buddy Mike Duffy. What's up, Mike Duffy? If you're out there somewhere, I love you, buddy. He and I, check this out, Tony, flew out from Jersey, no tickets. And we got into all 4 shows, 27, 28, day off on the 29th, and then 30th, 31st. So listen to this. No cell phones, no nothing. This is 1991. This is the last New Year's show the Grateful Dead ever did, actually. This is right after Bill Graham died. Yeah. So they decided to do that year. But after that, they retired New Year's out of respect for Bill. But anyway, I'm in the parking lot, and Duff, my buddy Duff, he gets a ticket. Okay, so now he's in, and I'm like, dude, just get in there. I'll find, like, Tony, I'll find you.
Yes, okay? I've said that so many times. Allie, who's coming on our show, Allie, I'll find you. Or
like, but Tony, I'm talking no cell phones, kid. No way to like track this guy down. So here's what happens. Now it's getting very close to showtime. It's mayhem outside. It's freaking New Year's Eve, dude. Everybody's trying to get in. My buddy's inside. I'm still walking around the parking lot just looking for anything. All of a sudden, this kid comes walking up to me. He just comes walking up to me, and he goes, hey, you want to go into the show? And I go, yeah. And check it out. He was wearing a security jacket. So he goes, follow me.
Nice.
I go, okay, I'm following you. And he reaches into his pocket. Dude, he pulls out another security jacket. He goes, put this on. I go, okay. So I put it on, and he goes, dude, I'll walk you inside for $25. I'm like, bro, you got yourself a freaking deal, kid. So all of a sudden, I'm walking in, dude. I'm walking into the Oakland Arena with my security jacket on. And as soon as we get inside, I give this guy $25. I give him his jacket back. Now I'm inside. I'm like, how am I going to frown my boy? I found him before the first set in the hallway. It was ridiculous. I'm like, I found him. We got to watch the whole show together. Pretty freaking amazing.
Paulie, that's amazing. And Karen Bell in the chat says, you always connect/run into those who are you're supposed to at shows. Like, it's a real thing. It's a true thing. Or like when you're at a show and you run into somebody you haven't seen in forever, and it's like those friends that you only see at shows.
Yeah.
Or you only saw at shows. Yeah. And those moments and those hugs and those quick little connections, and then I'll see you. Okay, I gotta go. But just, I don't know. It's that whole community that Bonnie was talking about. That I try to explain to people about, like, yes, it's about the music first and foremost, but it's also about the community, and also about the vibe and we talk about that, the reciprocity, dude. That's why we talk about that word so much, about the whole connection between the band and the music. And so but speaking of that, you took me to Further at Shoreline in 98.
Yeah, that was a great show. Yeah.
That was a huge, like, awakening for me about the whole Dead thing, because I had been seeing Fish for a few years, but not Dead related stuff.
Yep.
And then you also took me to Rat Dog at Slim's, and I'm like, man, okay, let's just go. Let's go. And then I had met my buddy Max Medina, and then his wife Allie, who's coming on the show in a few minutes. Max worked at the radio station with Paulie and I, and big Fish fan, Dead fan. His wife Allie is like the biggest Bob Weir fan I know outside of Paulie. And that's kind of how it opened up for me. And like Bonnie said, once I got a taste of that, it was like, this is where I want to be. This is who I want to be around. Yeah. I want to be as good of a person as possible with these people. And my dad said, leaving the Sphere, I think I said this to you before, but leaving the Sphere, my dad said, he's like, God, if the world could just be like that.
No, tell me about it. I know.
And I go, exactly, Dad. Like, exactly. And anyways, that was the fact that my last Bobby experiences with my dad is so
that's awesome, man. That's freaking awesome. That's amazing. And it's funny. That's the thing, man. You listen, I was never critical. Oh, you never saw Jerry play. Oh, you're not. I mean, dude, to me, it was like, you hit the scene when you hit the scene. We all have to have our first show at some point. And that's why I want to bring our next guest on, because I always loved this kid. he was probably fourth, fifth generation. He's like the newest generation of Deadheads. But I could tell this is going to be Eric Engel, Triple E coming in. And I could tell by the look in his eye, like he went to the 3 nights at Oracle Park a couple of summers ago. And when I saw the look in his eye, I'm like, he gets it. Triple E gets it. He knows what's going on here. And I'll never forget this, Triple E. I don't know if you remember this, but you saw me at one of the shows and you're like, dude, we're going to need to talk about that second set tomorrow. I've been there. I'm ready. I'm all ears, bro. I hope to have some answers for your questions, but I'm ready. So Triple E, great to see you, Eric. And you kind of represent like the newest generation of Deadheads to me. And I got to tell you, it really makes me happy to know that there is still a connection going on with that music, with those people, and like young people like yourself. Like that was your first entrance into the scene. Am I right? The Oracle Park shows?
It was not my first Dead show. Well, it was my first Dead show, but the first time that I saw Bobby was actually on his birthday with Bob Weir and the Wolf Brothers at the Warfield. But I went to that one.
That was great. Yeah, that was great.
I went to that show solo. Like I did not have I feel like I was kind of like,
you were on the floor. I remember this now.
Yes,
I was in the balcony. I was in the balcony with Drutzy, and Triple E was like texting me. He's like, dude, I'm on the floor. It's crazy down here. I'm like, you know what, bro? You're on your own, but have a great time down there. Yeah.
So that was, I feel like a good, like I had no idea what the hell was going on, man. As you know, has been the theme of things we've discussed, or Bonnie was discussed, which, by the way, Bonnie, oh my God, I'm going to try my best to follow you there. You had me tearing up, waiting to jump on, but I didn't really, I felt like these are my people, but I got to figure out how to like get in, you know what I mean? Like I got to figure out how to like become a part of this. And so the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like listening to the music, I'm enjoying it. I'm looking around and I'm like, I need to meet all of the people around me. But then like, everyone's in the expanded mind state. So my brain's going like a million miles an hour and I'm having a hard time processing everything around me. The way that show, probably you were there, so you can remind me, or you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that he ended with a One More Saturday Night on.
Yeah, correct.
And when he was playing that One More Saturday Night, I was like just the level of how they could just mash the throttle and go full speed ahead and then pull back and just play with your emotions on a yo-yo the whole time. It was it was crazy to me. I mean, music does that in general, right? But it's hard to get the full spectrum of emotions in the same show, and that's what the Dead did. I mean, I don't got to tell you guys, you know better than I did. I mean, but where it really clicked for me was those shows at Oracle Park, because I, like the story you were just saying, I did not have tickets for any of those shows. I went to all 3 days, and I got miracled on Sunday, and that was incredible. I ended up on the floor the whole time there. I have no idea how that happened, and I just remember sitting there thinking to myself, like, I get it now. Like, I get it now. And the only thing that, like, the only sad part about it, and I'm gonna now quote Bobby's last song he ever did live, "Every Silver Lining Has a Touch of Gray." I was sitting there thinking, I just wish I got on the bus earlier. And I mean, I know that, like, and Paulie, you just mentioned this about how you never made anybody feel bad for jumping on the bus late and things like that. And for someone like me, like, that was a huge thing, because there are people that do that, and they're a lot fewer and further between than the people who are, welcoming and things like that in the community. But there was that like kind of sense of like, oh no, am I going to be like accepted into the community?
And thou, like, oh my God, yeah.
And I just remember sitting there thinking, like, when I had you kind of shepherding me along on one side, and I had at the same time, like, those 3 shows kind of reunited me with one of my childhood friends, my childhood best friend. His name is Luke. And Luke and I had a massive falling out about the time that we were like 18, 19 years old, and we had gone completely separate ways. We did not talk. There was a period of time where I don't even think I had his phone number in my phone. And the Dead have like completely brought us back together. And not only that, but like we have gone around the country now to go see the Dead and other bands. Like, we just went to go see Billy Strings together with like me, Luke, and all of our other friends in the community. And we just went to go see Billy Strings. And that's
Triple E, did you read Billy Strings' tribute to Bob Weir?
I did. And I cried when I read it. And I cried.
Incredible.
Like, I saw a couple. I heard you guys mention the NBC thing. That was hilarious. NBC came up and interviewed me while I was sitting in front of the Dead House with my girlfriend Bhavna and my friend Sebastian, and I started like to break, and I started tearing up like mid interview because like just talking about Bobby, and I feel like in a way like the connection that I feel like I have with the band, like it stems through Bobby. Like for me, Bobby is the face of the Dead that I have seen, right? So I feel like in a way,
same.
In a way, the reverence that I feel like I have for Bobby is like similar to when I hear people like you, Paulie, talk about Jerry. And so I can, it's almost like that same, like I know that Bobby was second in command of the Dead. Like I have no illusions about that. And I understand that, but there was no better person to shepherd the band through all those changes than Bob Weir, both musically and just personality wise, right? Like Bobby could play. It didn't matter who the hell he was playing up there with. Paulie, you said he was a chameleon musically, and he can play with Jerry, or he can play with John, or he can play with the Wolf Brothers, or with Phil, or with O'Teal. It doesn't matter. Whoever's up there, Bobby can adjust to you.
Yeah.
And there are so few musicians that can do that. Like that is such an incredible skill to have. And like I am a very, very, very amateur musician. Like I did high school band and all that stuff. And so I feel like I have a very rudimentary understanding of these things.
Yeah.
And like it's astounding to even someone like me who has such a limited musical knowledge when it comes to technical things and technicality of playing music. And it is still just mind blowing to me to see the way that Bob was able to just transition from through all these different people. And then, you know, obviously all the like the final run of Dead shows was another great example of that. Cause you see Bobby up there with guys like Billy Strings and Sturgill Simpson and Trey Anastasio. And it doesn't matter who the hell's up there. Bobby's doing his thing and it still sounds like the Dead. And that's the most amazing. Like, I don't know if Jerry could have done that. Like, I'm sure it would have been still, you know, the music would have still gone on, but it would have been different. It would have been, I feel like it would have been more of like Jerry's thumbprint on it. And this is like, Bob just shepherded the band as what the music was supposed to be.
Hey, you are speaking my language, brother. And Eric, like I feel the same way you do about Bobby. And the thing that I was telling Paulie is like, I loved how, and Paulie and I would riff on it kind of, but like how Bobby was always in shape. There's a picture of him wearing the John Mayer Slayer t-shirt where he's got like guns. Like
he's ripped. He's like ripped. Yeah.
He's also doing like the hammer workouts on the trainer. I'm like, look at this guy.
And he was doing that while he was still sick. Like he's doing that while he's going through treatments and stuff. Because I started to think about that kind of stuff too, Tone. When I was thinking back to when I heard that he was, you know, as sick as he was since prior to those the Dead 60 shows, I was like, oh my God, all the things I've seen this man doing since then. That's incredible. Yeah. And that's such a tribute to everything that he always preached about how you're supposed to live life, how you're just supposed to be in the world. And I mean, he's literally the living embodiment of like life goes on, but it doesn't have to be bad.
No,
it doesn't have to be a sad thing. You can still have, you know, all sorts of love and happiness and in your life. And, you know, you can still have all the good times. Like that's the one thing that I feel like if I ever got to meet Bob, the one thing I would have said to him, one line would have just been, thank you for a real good time.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, I see it's Law 77. He says, because Triple E texted me this right after the Niners won yesterday. I'm sorry, over Philly, was that win was for Bobby. And just a little update. We like to do a lot of updates on our high noon show every day, but there's an update. You want to talk about like particles and cosmic energy. You said one more Saturday night earlier in your guest hit right here, Triple E. The NFL just came out with the schedule about 20 minutes ago for the games this coming weekend, and Niners, Seahawks, 5 o'clock, one more Saturday night.
We'll do it. Hey, you know what then, Tony? We'll do it under the lights. That's fine. We'll do it under the lights. And I want to say, Triple E, listen, man, I really love you, and I'm glad you gave us a few minutes tonight because I can feel I've always been able to, like with you, I can feel that you get it. I know that you get it. So, dude, you know what you got to do now, Triple E? You got to carry that spirit with you, and you got to push it out there into the community and bring more people into it, and just keep going forward, man. That's all you can do in times like this. But you did great on the news. I really appreciate having a couple of minutes from you tonight. And you go be well, my son. Be well, Grasshopper. And we'll talk.
I can't thank you guys enough. And Paulie, I know other people are waiting, so I'll make this brief. But Paulie, I know that you kind of know some of the troubles and turmoil that I was going through in my own personal life when I kind of found the dead, when I first started coming on to the Murph and Mac show as your producer and things like that. And my life was like not really okay in a lot of ways. And the way that the dead came into my life at just the absolute perfect time, because I don't know that I would have been receptive to everything the way that I was at that point in time. It's like the universe waited for everything to line up, for you to be like in a sort of mentor role to me in my life, and for me and my best childhood friend Luke, like starting to rekindle our friendship. And then boom, here comes the dead, and it just completely changed my life, completely changed who I am as a person. And I genuinely can't imagine who I would be if I had not found this band and the community that is associated with it. It's same thing that Bonnie was saying. It sounds corny. It sounds cheesy. Like, right. I feel like like when you sit there and you watch the old videos of the old deadheads basically saying, this is church for me. Well, dude, it is. Yeah. Like, it literally is church for me. And like, I cannot express to you, Paulie, and Tony too, but I can't express to you guys how much you guys have changed my life, like for the better, in such a tangible way. And hey, man, I can't thank you guys enough.
Well, listen, my pleasure. Don't even mention it. We're happy. We're happy that we're brothers, and you just keep being you. That's all you need to do. You just keep being Triple E out there, and everything's going to be fine.
Also, let's give Triple E some promotion here. After the Niners Seahawks game, Triple E will be going live with his post-game show with Dwayne Board, former number 76 Niners lore. So catch Triple E Locked on 49ers after the Niner game on YouTube. Check him out. It's going to be a damn good show. Congrats on that, Triple E, again, and thanks again for coming on, brother.
Keep up the good work, Triple E. We'll talk to you, brother. Be good, bro. See you soon. That's Triple E, everybody. And the audience loves Triple E too. Triple E's making everybody emotional out here, and I really appreciate that. I was so happy when I saw the light go on, kind of with him. And he was like, "Dude, you didn't tell me it was going to be like this," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, this is why I keep coming back." It's funny too. I just want to say one other quick thought I had when Triple E was talking. Sometimes, because he was talking about how he never got to see Jerry Garcia, but seeing Bob Weir was kind of that connection. Tony, sometimes I'd be watching Bobby singing or like at Golden Gate Park or at the Warfield, and I'd be looking at him and I'd just be thinking to myself, I'd be like, that's the same dude who stood on stage at the Fillmore East, who played Woodstock, who played the Pyramids. Like, that's the same guy. He's standing right there. I used to trip out on that. Like how, like you can't, for example, you can't go see Jimi Hendrix. You can't go see Led Zeppelin. You can't go see like a lot of these great bands, that are Kurt Cobain. You can't go see him. But like when I would see Bob Weir, I'm like, that's the same freaking guy. He's standing right there, who used to rock like the Carousel Ballroom in 1965. Like it used to trip me out. The Winterland, that's him. That's Bobby. He's still going. And that always gave me a lot of inspiration. The fact that he was out there always going, like, was inspiring to me.
He also inspired me, Paulie, about how humble he was, right? About all that everything you just mentioned. He would never want to talk about himself.
No.
Right?
No.
And we should show that ESPN clip at some point during the show tonight about the tribute they paid to him on SportsCenter on Saturday night. I think it was Saturday night or Sunday during the day. And Bob, they used to have clips of Bob talking about how he relates to the Niners because of the team aspect of football and being in a band, and it's really, really cool stuff. And so we'll have to show that at some point during the show, Pete.
Absolutely.
It resonated deeply with me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Tony. And real quick, from me to you, Law 77, you're talking about Martin Scorsese, of course. He's saying what uber famous director worked on the Woodstock movie as an editor? That was Marty. That was like his first thing. If you watch the Martin Scorsese documentary, you'll get plenty of that on Apple TV. I highly recommend it. Okay, let's keep the guest list moving along, Tony. Who's next on our list?
Well, this is a dear friend of both of ours for almost 30 years. Her husband is Max Medina, worked at KNBR in the building with us.
Maxie, what's up, Maxie?
Cheers. I'm gonna actually crack my beer. I just have a little Pilsner here. Sierra Nevada Pilsner. This is for Bobby. Cheers to Bobby. But Max and I met, and it was on from literally moment one. And Max was a huge fish head, and he kind of got me going into fish, and obviously Dead as well. But then I met his wife, Allie, and she was the biggest Grateful Dead fan other than Polly, and a huge Bob Weir fan. And so when Polly and I were talking about who should we get on the show, and I said, Polly, you know who's a huge Bobby fan? And then he goes, Allie. And I go, yes.
I love Allie. I've always loved Allie, and this is like the great feather in her cap is that she, because I have nights. I remember, I think it was at the Fillmore in the late 90s. I want to say this is like a Bob Weir Rat Dog Mardi Gras show, and they had the parade going and stuff. And I think Tony, I was at that show solo. I just rolled over. I lived like 2 blocks away. I just drove right over. And all of a sudden in the middle of the show, like I bumped into Allie. I'm like, oh, what's up, Allie? Like Allie was always up for the scene and always up for a Bob.
Where did you run into her recently? What
I saw her at the Who a couple of months ago.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's right.
Well, she's a music lover. Let's get her on. Enough of the buildup. Let's get the
by the way, Max is on the chat, Polly. Max says, cheers, boys. So what's up, Maxie?
Yeah.
Cheers, brother. But yes, let's bring on Allie. Here she comes. There she is. Allie.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I love the Grateful Dead house in the back. Nice touch, Allie. Nice.
And Allie, we'll show some pictures that you sent to me earlier. And Maxie just sent me one as well. But dude, Allie and Max go back to the show that Polly and I did back on the Ticket 1050.
Oh yeah.
No, they used to call her. Oh,
do you guys remember the song that you played on your last show with the Polly and Cue Ball show?
Oh, I don't know if I do. Oh, was it Touch of Grey?
No, it was He's Gone.
Oh, that's damn nice. I don't even remember that thing. Allie,
nice. I know. Well, we were out, celebrating the last show the next morning. Yeah. I don't know how you guys got up and did a show because I barely rolled over and turned on my radio.
Yeah.
And I had said right before I left, you gotta play He's Gone. That's it. It's so dramatic. All of my 22 years old, or whatever I was.
Well, Allie, listen, that kind of speaks to the amount of time we've known each other, and it's always great seeing Allie under any circumstance. But I was thinking about you, kid. I was thinking about you this weekend, and I mean, the news really rattled me, Allie. I'm still rattled. I'm still I still have a lot of heaviness in my heart. But how are you, and how did you react? And just give me everything you got, Allie.
Oh yeah. Oh.
So there's a picture of Allie right there.
Dropping down, putting some.
God bless.
We brought roses out to put in front of the 710 Ashbury. So
nice.
I just felt I mean, I want to say this. Tony knows one of my best friends from growing up in LA, Jeff Maloney. He is the guy that called me and left a voicemail on my phone in 95 when Jerry died.
Oh, wow.
I was living in Berkeley. I didn't go home to LA for the summer, and he called and left a message on my answering machine, So he was like, "Hey, check your local news and call me back." And I looked at my roommate, and she looks at me, and she's like, "You didn't hear?" And I'm like, "No, dude, I've been babysitting all day." She's like, "Jerry Garcia died." And you guys, I'm not kidding. Jeff was the first person to call me to tell me that Bob died.
Oh man!
I mean, I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" And I was driving home from Tahoe. I went skiing. I took our 7-year-old who wasn't feeling good, and we left early, and then just decided to come home instead of stay overnight. And now I know why, because
Huh.
I think, and you know what's so eerie? Like we got up hella early in the morning to go to try to beat traffic in Tahoe to the mountain. And
Yeah.
I turned on the Grateful Dead channel on my car, right? Just have Sirius.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like the most raging morning of Bob tunes. Like
Yeah.
it was the most killer Looks Like Rain. Like,
Nice.
I mean, I love that song.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love Bob, and I actually thought, like, what am I going to do when this guy goes?
Wow.
Guys, 6 hours later, they made the announcement.
Whoa.
So I don't know. I'm like not,
No.
I'm not like hocus pocus. Like I'm not, but like that was like, I think, a moment of tuning in, the like tune in and like, I think that we're just all aligned a little bit, all of us in this like weird music spiritual way.
Hey,
And I'm
Polly,
so not this girl. You guys know me. Like I'm not this girl, but there is something about the world that we live in with the scene and this band, but the community and the vibe and like the electricity that we just all kind of feel, and I know I sound totally cheesy, and this is
You don't. No.
This is like what I really think. It was just too weird. Sometimes I think about it, and like somebody had said to me, well, Bob didn't play for New Year's.
Yeah.
He was just busy, man. Like we actually went out of town. We saw the new Master Sounds, another friend,
Nice.
and I just kind of like let it go. But like even Wolf Brothers didn't play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we all kind of had a feeling that things weren't great at Golden Gate Park, right?
Yep.
But I was just stunned, and like I've read this thing. I've been reading like a lot of things about what he said about all these other folks that he lost before he went. And I think one of the things I keep saying is like, I'm just going to be Buddhist Bob. Like, let's go. I'm all about how we're going to send him off versus like how I'm going to like hold it in a little bit on like being too depressed over here, and like just try to focus on him.
Yeah.
And that's I just had a long conversation with like somebody I work with in Chicago today, randomly. Her husband's a big Dead fan, and like it's just a vibe that we all have to kind of figure out how we're gonna make it through, and keep going. Because man, the world is crazy, and then to lose Bob on top of it, just
I know. It's a really shitty way to start the year. Tony, go ahead. I saw you were going to say something.
Allie, on this show, we talk about shaman every once in a while, and one of our listeners puts a hashtag on the show all the time: no shaman, and then but I don't know what the female.
Let me tell Allie what's going on here, because Tony keeps talking about. Tony's like, "Hey, Paulie, we got to go in the woods with a shaman and take ayahuasca." I'm like, "Let me tell you something, kid. I ain't going." I go, "Anytime you're bringing in a shaman, count me out, brother." I'm like, if we can't get through this ourselves without some guy with like a lantern and a robe, I'm like, I don't think I need the shaman. I don't want the shaman. So that's how the no shaman thing. Tony's all big on the shaman. I don't want anything to do with the shaman.
He would be, Paulie. You're used to it. I mean,
yeah.
Like, no. The rest of us are like, okay, Tony. So
yeah, like, dude, you go.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Allie has been my shaman, whatever the female word for shaman is. She's been my shaman at shows so many times.
She's a shamanist, Tony. A shamanist. Yeah,
totally. Like my guiding light through shows. Like I mean, so Allie, thank you. Like I don't know if I've ever thanked you before.
I just have a wonderful memory. I kind of tried to share one before you came on, Allie, of just always knowing that you were in the house somewhere. Like at any given Bobby show, like 9 times out of 10, I knew Allie was around. Even if I didn't run into you, like Tony would be like, "Hey, look for Allie. She's there tonight too." And it just always brought me a lot of joy. And it was just another way that he kind of kept everybody connected in the Bay Area. Because like you said, you tending to your young kid, and Tony's got kids, I got kids, the years go on and you get wrapped up in your own thing, but then we would still see each other at shows. That was always kind of like the meeting place. And I appreciate it.
It's a joy to like run into your best friends at these shows. I said to Max when I finally got home, and he got home, and we kind of looked at each other, and I was like, look, like I want to say this thing, like I don't have any regrets about anything I saw every show I could possibly afford or make happen. I saw Rat Dog in Syracuse, New York. I saw, you're like, if Rat Dog was in my vicinity, we were there, even if we were there for a fish show, or like we went to Cornell to go see back in the day, when Phil and Bob Dylan played at Barton Hall.
Nice.
We looped in the Rat Dog show, with Justin and Garrett Dillon, and like just we saw it all. I got every chance that I could see. I saw 3 Sphere shows, which talk about breaking the bank, but I never regret 1 minute or $1 or one time or one bit of effort. And the last one I went to, I had like totally jacked my leg up skiing, and I was hobbling around. I don't even care. So happy to be there and just be in the light,
Nice.
I don't think I've ever asked you this, Allie. Like, what got you into the Dead? Like way back when?
Yeah. I mean, there was a bunch of us, a few of us in high school who were like really led by Jeff Maloney, and his older brother who went to Boulder was a big Deadhead, and we like all kind of like, ooh, Mikey, you're so cool. And we wanted to be like Mikey. He kind of, Jeff and him, and then like some other girlfriends. But my parents wouldn't let me go see the Dead in high school. We tried to go senior year, and they were like, hell no. So I showed up at Cal at Berkeley, and I was still 17. And 10 days, my 10th day living in Berkeley, I was at a Dead show.
Nice.
Right.
Bravo.
Yeah, 8/25/93. Changed my whole life. Just like you said.
I'm going to say this, Allie. One of our listeners / viewers just posted a comment about you, and this woman said that Allie is a ray of sunshine. And I have to agree. Sunshine Daydream, Allie Martinez, everybody. Listen, Allie, thank you so much for giving us a few minutes tonight. All the best. Give Maxie a big hug for me, and we'll talk soon, dear. Great seeing your face, Allie.
Thank you, Allie.
Bye.
All right, peace out. See you soon. Tell the kids hello.
I will. You too.
See you. Allie Martinez is just good vibes on wheels. You know what I mean? She's good vibes on wheels. Every time I see Allie, it's always a great moment. Yeah, Pine Needle. Yes, she is. She's a ray of freaking sunshine, Maxie. Totally. You know it. We all know it. Yeah.
And I really do mean it. There's been many shows where, like Bonnie was talking about, where my mind may have been expanded, and she would like reel me in. Or she would like lock arms with me.
She's got that kind of motherly vibe going, like when you need it. And no question. I've seen the vibe many times myself. By the way, it applies to other shows too, because she was the same way when I saw her at the Who. It doesn't have to be the Dead. She's always got that Allie thing going. Where was the comment I wanted to make? It was Will Sparks right there. Will Sparks. I saw Bobby in the Midnights way back in the day at the Keystone Berkeley and the Stone. Hell yeah. Dude, I got the Bobby in the Midnights album on, I got it on CD, and I got Bobby's first solo album behind me right here, Ace, which is a great one.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, everybody should have that one. So how many do we have left? 2?
We got 2 more waiting in the green room, and they're getting treated very handsomely in the green room. But really quick, Paulie, before we get to our next guest, which is Aaron Redner, one of our favorites, the Bombs Away, okay, which we have to bring back to the show, right? What was that? You just saying, I need to just have Bobby's solo represented on your show, solo career represented on the show.
Here's the thing. Prior to even when the Grateful Dead were still playing, Bobby used to do solo shows with Rob Wasserman, who became his bass player in Rat Dog. But for a long time, they just toured as a duo. Bobby on guitar and vocals, Rob Wasserman on bass. And they were playing big venues, dude. I saw them headline Great Woods in Massachusetts in 91. Like, they're playing in front of 17,000 people. And they continued to do that. And then they added Jay Lane, and they added like other members, and that became Rat Dog. But back in those days when it was Weir and Wasserman, a lot of times Bobby would open the show with Bombs Away, which is a pretty cheesy track from his solo career. And my friend Winks, who's going to join us a little bit later, we used to break Bobby's balls. Bombs away, y'all. And we just like because it's a pretty silly song. Bombs away. I guess I'm back in love again. Like, it's just not a good, it's corny. It's a corny track. Let's be honest. So it's so corny. I started making fun of it. And that's the other thing too. Bobby easily could have turned on KMBR one day and heard me breaking his balls. But I bet you anything, he probably laughed. He probably laughed right along with it. Definitely. So even though I love the guy, I started playing the Bombs Away chorus every time a Giant would hit a home run, Tony, a bomb. We'd be like, hey, who hit a bomb last night? Bombs Away. And I'd play like the Bobby track. Yeah, you remember that. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
Well, if there were multiple bombs, you'd do like 4 bombs away. And it was like, I mean, and it was the perfect. I remember editing that for you and being like,
with the drum tech, Bombs Away.
It had to have the drums in the beginning as an intro, dude. And it was perfect. Yeah. We got to bring that back to the show. Okay. We need to bring Bombs Away back to the show.
Hey, Dami Peralta dropping a Heaven Help the Fool. That's another one. Mm-hmm. I think Bombs Away is on Heaven Help the Fool, as a matter of fact. That's right. It's all part of that same album. It's a good record. You know, Bobby did a couple of solo records back in the day. The one record he did with Rat Dog called Evening Moods, that's a really good album. I recommend that if you can find it online. All right, Tony, let's do it. I want to talk to Aaron Redner. We have two final guests left tonight. So Aaron Redner is a longtime buddy of ours. He played fiddle with the Hot Buttered Rum guys for many, many years. Now he's playing with the Grateful Bluegrass Boys. There's a picture of Redner on fiddle, Phil Lesh in the back, and Bobby right there. I got to get that story from him. So let's bring him on. Let's bring on Aaron Redner, a longtime Deadhead, great guy, great musician, and always been a good friend to us and whatever show we happen to be on. Yeah, Dom, last track. Thank you, brother.
Hey, what's
Aaron
up,
Redner?
How's it going?
What's happening, brother? Sorry to be under these tough circumstances, but I thought you'd be a good guy to touch base with tonight. How you feeling, man?
You know, all the feels. It's such an interesting time, and hearing everybody talk, it makes me wonder, just search my heart how I'm really feeling about it. And it's one of those, the closer someone is to you, you feel it in your heart a certain way, just closer, deeper, and in a way that feels eternal. So he's always going to be with me in a way, because I'm so connected to his words and his music and his feel that it's just, whether he's on the physical plane or not, it's somewhat irrelevant, because it's with me in such a deep, I wear the Grateful Dead in my soul so deeply that all I feel is grateful for him. And too soon, you know, Phil lasted a lot longer. At the same time, I just reminded myself that Jerry was only 53 and he just turned 54. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm older than Jerry. When
I know. Isn't that crazy? I know.
And had he lived another 25 years, what music would there have been out of that if he had stayed healthy? And that makes me so appreciative of Bobby's health ethic. And that's been a big influence for me. I later in life am really following his lead of, you know, take care of the physical body first.
Yeah. Well, that's an important thing. And you're right. He was always pretty physically fit. He was like the one guy up there who always looked like he was in shape. And, you know, you're right about Jerry. I've been thinking about this, Aaron, like with Garcia, you knew it was going to happen at some point. You just hoped like, okay, maybe hopefully not too soon. I hope he gets healthy. But you knew it was coming. And even when Phil got older, like he was having health problems, he had the liver transplant. He had a great run after that. But my point is with Bobby, it was not something I was expecting. And I think that's why this is such a shock to people. I did see the 3 shows in Golden Gate Park. I feel very fortunate that I was at the last gigs he ever played. But when I saw that picture of you on stage with Bobby and Phil, you got to walk us through that. So I saw them masked up. I assume that was during the pandemic. Refresh my memory about that gig.
The end of the pandemic. Well, you know, it starts with being at Shoreline under one of those huge screens, watching them when they had the close-ups on their faces. And I remember just thinking, okay, I think like you mentioned yourself that you watched Bobby play. I want to play guitar. I thought to myself, there's something at the core of what's happening right here that's going to be resonating with me for the rest of my life. There's no question. And then flash to many years later, and here I am at Terrapin Crossroads. I grew up in Mill Valley, so in the 70s and 80s. So the Dead were very much just local guys for us, and you know, walking there with Huey Lewis and Sammy Hagar and all that. So it was really going to shows and feeling like I want to connect with them someday. Then Terrapin Crossroads opened, and I got to know Phil pretty well. I played a lot of shows with Phil, from full band shows to just me and Phil doing things for kids together. It was just that was an amazing experience. And then at one of those shows in the backyard, we're playing, and Graham Lash looked at me and said, I think Bobby's showing up, and I was very excited. And I'd played with Bobby previously at Sweetwater a couple of times. Grateful Bluegrass Boys played there, and he came up. And so it wasn't totally new to me at that point. Those Sweetwater shows are memorable. Just you mentioned connecting gazes with Bobby and that being meaningful. I remember we were covering a bluegrass version of Big River.
Nice. And
I was singing a verse, and I finished the verse. I'm like, should I do it? I'm like, F it. I turn around, Bobby. I'm like,
yeah.
And he just gets up there. I think Lucas Nelson was up there too, and just gets in there. So I'm like, yeah, let's go. I know how to do this. It's really Then go to the Terrapin, and all of a sudden I'm up there with Bobby, and I think Peter Rowan was there that day too. And
wow,
these are just those prophets that are walking the earth, and I really remember just always feeling like Bobby was a working musician, just purely a work. I remember seeing him backstage at the Sweetwater in one of those small rooms by himself, just working something out, just some dude in a room working out chords, not some mythical creature who I saw at the edge of the stage, one balls out and just going huge, And he just had so many faces to him. I remember at the end, people were criticizing his guitar playing, and I mean, the man was sick and getting old, and that's not what it's about. It's about what's the feel. There's always that. You get older, but then at the core, you got the Bobby is going. And I mean, those are hard guitar lines that he was putting together. And I remember I'm watching a lot of really young, clean-shaven Bobby right now, and it's so fun to watch that guy play and know that those particles are out there at our access thanks to Mother YouTube.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I think a lot of us have been doing that, kind of going back, digging up old shows that are special to. What you mentioned growing up in Mill Valley in the 70s and the 80s. So when did you find your way to your first Grateful Dead show? Like how old were you? Like roughly what year would that have been?
87, Grateful Dead and Bob Dylan. Coliseum, July 24th was the first one. And I remember that was sort of an unusual one because it was such a big thing happening in that stadium, and it was a little sloppy. And I remember I was 16 at that time and thinking, I think this is cool, but I was with my dad, and I don't know, it was all right. And then I went to some Oakland, in the Oracle Arena shows.
Oh yeah.
And those talk about church. Those were places where you would just, again, I'm so grateful to live in that pre-cell phone time where you would just get there and just wander the halls and have that moment of wonder of like, no way, there you are. You're so happy to see someone. You have a great conversation. You'll remember that conversation for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You're not talking to them. They're like, oh yeah, I got to take this. Hold on. It's like,
right. And then Aaron, I guess I would ask you this, man, to wrap. A last thing would be, obviously you are a working musician also. Like I've been fortunate to play with you a few times over the years with the Hot Blooded Rum guys and the Grateful Bluegrass guys. And it's always a lot of fun sharing a stage with you and playing some music with you. But as a working musician, as you are, what have you drawn from Bobby in that sense that you can use like in your own life as a musician?
I think keep turning to the masters. He was someone who really respected the old jazz masters so much. And so I think keep deepening your well of music, keep playing with different kinds of people and get what you can from each person. If you're a good musician, you're a thief. You're always stealing ideas and concepts and ways of being and crafting your own individuality by taking from all these people. I think he was we were lucky to see that. We talk about longevity. He lived long enough. We could see that in him, and his playing was so informed by all the different people that his playing, it wasn't as much as playing as his spirit, and it seemed to direct things. And
nice.
There was a lot busier things happening around him. Mayer's going like this, and he's got O'Teal's a Jedi, and Clementi's he's got his soul, but he's the one energetically at the core, and it's really cool to watch. I take that from there. You can try to be relaxed on stage, be listening. You don't need to say a ton to be effective.
Yeah.
Right.
Things, and that, again, that Philly win, it was emotional.
Oh.
He would have loved that.
Oh, dude, no.
So gritty. He would have been in the tour bus just like, yeah, that would have been so awesome.
100%. I'll tell you what, Aaron, in closing, I like our chances in Seattle. I really do. I think we're going up there loose. We got nothing to lose. We're playing with house money. Let's roll the dice, man. Let's see where this goes.
We learned what didn't work last time. I think we have coaches.
Yeah.
We'll try something different. I believe in it.
Hey, Aaron, great seeing your face. Thanks for sharing a few minutes with us, brother. It's always a pleasure, and have a great night. We'll be talking soon, bro. You be well.
All right. Love you guys. Thanks, Tony.
And good, great to see you, brother. Thank you for taking me back down Terrapin Crossroads and Sweetwater memories, dude. That special moment in time, Terrapin Crossroads, man.
No doubt.
And Sweetwater. Thank you, dude.
Bye from Portland, Oregon.
Yes, dude. Yes. And Grateful Bluegrass Boys, we got to make sure we see you when you come back down to the Bay.
You just let me know. I'll get the word out anytime.
Talk to you soon, brothers.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks,
be well.
brother.
That's Aaron Redner, everybody. I love that kid. And in fact, it's funny, we're talking about Terrapin Crossroads. The first time I ever stepped on the stage at Terrapin Crossroads was with him. And it was his invitation. He was like, Paulie, come play with us at Terrapin Crossroads. And guess what 2 songs I played? Both Grateful Dead songs. And that's why I was like, I know these guys are bluegrass, but if I just throw a couple of Dead songs out there, they'll be all over it. And they were. We played Me and My Uncle and Bertha. You were at that gig, Tony, when we were up there. That was so much fun. And
I remember when they came in studio and did the national anthem as Hot Buttered Rum.
Yeah.
Was the Giants opening day?
I don't think it was opening day, but it was
opening day. Was it a playoff game? Maybe
it might have been. It might have been a playoff game
or World Series or something. But yeah, they nailed it. I mean, Hot Buttered Rum was a great run for them, and now he's what he does with the Grateful Bluegrass Boys. Will Sparks, I see him on the chat. Will Sparks' daughter and Aaron have gigged together, so it's all connected, man. It's all connected.
It is all connected. And there's Jeff Faust. What's up, brother? Great to see you, man.
Yeah, what's up, Jeff? Oh, by the way. Yeah, because Jeff's on the chat right now, I want to show his picture one more time before we get to Winks, because we talked about this at the very beginning of the show. Jeff, thanks for sending this photo in. But there is Mr. Jeff Faust on bass with Bobby on stage. I mean, that's just a great shot, man. And you can't see Jeff Chimenti in the, like you said, Paulie, right? Wasn't Chimenti off to the side?
No, that's the one where I was playing with him.
Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. Look at Faust though, and he's got the big bass on his shoulder there, not the Koa wood bass that you'll see him play nowadays. But thanks for sending that in, Jeff. Man, we love you, man.
Yeah, thank you, Fausty. And I know, even Faust is all rattled, man. It's like, man, he's like, I'm really emotional about this, Paulie. I don't know what to. I'm like, bro, let it happen. Just be emotional. It's like you can't. You got to let these feelings come out when they're in there, and it's an emotional time. And that being said, we're going to wrap the show with one last guest tonight. Now, this kid is kind of the kid who I logged in the most miles with. I mean, this kid and I were major Bobby. He made stickers, dude, on the one of the summer tours. It was like a green street sign, and it just said in white letters, it said, "We're ready." And I remember we were at Giant Stadium, and people were like walking around with those stickers on their chests. And at one point in the middle of the show, it's a big stadium show. There's like 70,000 people there. It was the middle of a song, and somebody had a "We're Ready" sticker they were holding up that went on the big screen. And I was like, yeah, that's your sticker, dude. Anyway, so let's meet him. This is Jeff.
Can you show the t-shirt real quick, Paulie? Show the t-shirt one more time. Do you have the t-shirt available?
I do. So Winks made a lot of things over the years, but this is one of my favorite Bobby shirts he ever made. And it's a recent one. It's a Golden State Warriors meets Bob Weir, so let's call it the Golden State Warriors. Look at it.
That's so good. That is so good. Great job, Winks. Incredible.
It really is. It's a classic. And there he is. Yeah. What's up, Winks? Good to see you, bro.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
We got
okay,
you.
Good.
You sound great, Winks. Great to see you, dude. How you been?
Not bad, man. Busy as balls. I missed the show. Got to get back into it soon.
Oh, dude.
We miss you. We miss you on the show, but I know you'll be back whenever the time is right. You'll find your way back. You finish up your project. We'll always be here doing our thing. But so, just for the masses, this is Jeff Winkler. This is my guy Winks. And he and I mean, we're like the brothers in arms for Bobby. You got to understand, when the Grateful Dead were playing where Winks and I were living, it was all Jerry all the time. Oh my God, Jerry's doing this. Oh my God, Jerry's doing that. We're going to go see Jerry. And we all love Jerry, but that's too easy. Like we know, obviously Jerry's the man. He's up there. He's the lead guitar player. Come on. But Winks and I were like, you know what? I'm a Bobby guy. And me and Winks were both brothers in Bobby. So dude, I thought this would be the right way to kind of wrap things up, dude. How you doing with all this, man? And have you, I'm not doing well. I got to be honest, dude. I'm not doing well with this. It's nice to hear all these voices, but it's been a tough couple of days. How about for you, man?
Yeah, no, it's definitely been I'm going back and forth. Like when I allow my brain to go down the dark side, then, then I obviously am just thinking about it's more the selfish shit where, one, absolutely sad and you're going to miss Bobby and all that stuff, but then you extrapolate and you think about beyond that, and it's like, this is just all part of the landscape of the back nine. Like the front nine were like accumulating our heroes, and the back nine we're watching them all die, and it's just like, and it's just, you're like, fuck. And not only that, like it's like, just as you get older, more experiences go away. You can't do this anymore. You can't do that anymore. It's like the menu options get smaller on the menu because you're not allowed to eat food anymore.
You know what, Wink, let me jump in right there, because what you're saying, I totally relate to what you're saying. And I think that's one of the reasons why this has been so hard, because like you just said, you say goodbye to Jerry, you say goodbye to Brent, you say goodbye to Phil, you say goodbye to whoever it is, Kurt Cobain, Scott Weiland, all these musicians that we know and love, they die over the years. But through all that, Winks, Bobby was always right there. He was like the one constant, like you could always rely. I was trying to say that earlier. I don't know if I got that point across well, but that's one of the things I think I'm struggling with. That Tony, like, it's always, Bobby was always there gigging, and now to know that he's not, there's a big hole there, man.
Yeah, it's not, because he's not. I mean, we've been doing this since '87, so it's like 38. It's like a majority of our life has been spent on the phone planning when we're going to see them that year, whatever year that was.
No question.
Like, and Jesus Christ, like all the stories that you guys have been talking about tonight, just been thinking about how, I got 50 stories about that same exact topic, and that's where, when I start, so like, getting off the negative, then I think about the positive stuff. I don't necessarily sit back and remember shows and songs, but I remember, I'm finding myself laughing at memories, just on stories, and memories of, like, Jesus Christ, that Mountain Air with Tony and you and me, like Joyce and Payne, because some girl named Joyce sits in a tent next to us, and her name is Joyce, and all night long we're screaming Joyce and Payne.
Joyce and Payne.
Or going or meeting you guys in Shoreline and blasting Van Halen into the, as we're going into the stadium. And everyone else is blasting Drum Space or Estimated Profit, and we've got fucking Drop Dead Legs on 10.
I forgot about that, Wings.
That's a true story. I forgot about that too. That was the other one show, Tony, the 98. So we're in my car, and I'm like, you know what? I don't care. The windows are down, Hot for Teachers on 170 decibels, and like you want to see heads turning around at a Dead show, like people holding their drinks, like watching our car drive by. I'm like, yep, that's how we're doing it today, bro. A little Hot for Teacher right up in this piece. And they did a great call. I forgot about that. Do you remember that, Tony?
Absolutely. It was in your green Cherokee Jeep. I'll never forget it, man. And I felt the same thing. I was like, yeah, that's right. We're here. We're here.
Drop Dead Legs, like in the middle of a dead scene.
The giant butt.
You know that you want it. All that stuff, man. Oh, dude. But no, Winks, I mean, I was, you know what I was thinking about, bro? I was thinking about the show, because Winks and I, we've seen shows all over the place, including the one we saw, was at Battery Park in Manhattan? When Bobby, with the Rat Dog show, like we've seen, I mean, Bobby, that's the thing. He was always gigging, and he was always up to be playing. So that's where I was getting a little bit worried. I'm like, There's no news about new Dead and Company shows. There's no news about Rat Dog or Wolf Brothers show. I was like, something's off here because Bobby doesn't usually stay in the shadows that long, and it had been a few months. I was a little worried, but I wasn't prepared, Winks. I was not expecting this.
No, me neither. You know, it sucks. I mean, I don't know. I guess there's no other. I don't know. I'm lost for words because I wasn't.
Had you seen him? Had you seen him recently at all?
I saw him at the Sphere. It was my last one this past April. So the 26th was my last. Was my last one.
That was with me. I was with you. Yeah, thank God. I mean, it's a good thing too. I mean, that's kind of what Allie was saying when she was on a few minutes ago. She was like, you know, you look back on all these like, you know, road trips you took and adventures we took, and you don't regret a single one of them. You're glad. You're like, thank God we did. Here's an example. How about this story? Here's a good one. This is a great Winks and Paulie Mack story, true story. So in 2008, I'm sitting there minding my own business. I'm doing the Murph and Mack show one day. I'll never forget this. It was right near the end of we were just about to sign off the air, and Brian Murphy goes, because I never looked at the emails, but he used to read them all like throughout the show, and he'd be like, hey man, there's an email here I think you should check out. And I go over and I read this email, and it was from my dear friend Brian Connors, who I hadn't even met yet. And he was basically, he wrote this note and he was like, hey, Paulie Mack, I hear you talk about the Grateful Dead a lot. I can tell you're a real Deadhead. He goes, check this out. I work for Phil, and Phil was doing a 5-night run at the Warfield at that time. So he's like, why don't you come down to the show tomorrow night and be my guest? He goes, just go out to like Turk Street. There's a door. I'm going to open that door and bring you in. I'm like, okay. I had no idea who this guy was. So I just basically rolled down there by myself. I meet BC, Brian Con. Now we're like dear friends. I mean, I love the guy and I love his wife, Wendy. We're all close. All of us, you too, Brian, I mean, Tony and Winks. And it was such an amazing event. Like that night, I was meeting Brian Connors for the first time. He was like, dude, come on stage with me. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, just come with me. So now I'm on the side of the stage. I'm hanging out with Jill, Phil's wife, and he was introducing me to everybody. And the next day, he was like, you got to come back for Sunday. It's the last night. They're going to play 3 sets. They're going to close the door. It's going to be an all-night party. I go home, and I'm like, I called Winks on the phone. I go, dude, listen, I know this is short notice, but here's what you need to do. You need to book a ticket and just get on a plane right now. Just get on a plane right now. And you did. Talk about that night a little bit, dude. That's one of my all-time favorite nights, Winks, ever.
Yeah, no, that was it was that morning. Like I woke up and you'd called and you were like, I don't know if you can do this, but try. It's just like, just get here. Like I met this guy last night. He's Phil's, was a merchandise guy.
Yeah.
And he said, and he said, like, you have to be there tonight. It's going to be like a crazy night. And it wasn't even like 3 sets. I think it was like 5.
Yeah, 5
sets. They played until the sun came up. They did.
When we left the Warfield, Tony, they were outside like hosing the sidewalk down, like the sun was. And when we left the Warfield at about, I think, 6 a.m. And then Winks had a flight at like 8 a.m. So it was just basically right back to the airport, and we pulled it off, dude. But that was an amazing, and you're right, the band played 5 sets. Bobby was there that night.
Yeah. And look, and we were, and the reason why I know we were such huge Bobby heads is because we also never let him off the hook. Like there was a period of time where Bobby was sucking, and he was just, I don't know, pills or just booze or whatever the hell it was, but he looked like a homeless guy, and he also was playing really, really, really slow sets. And so it was just funny because that was one of the nights where he was just super slow.
Yeah.
So we were just sitting on and that was talking, we were on the side of the stage again, just like, dude, come on, Bobby, like get it together.
But it's like, you're right though. We didn't spare him any expense. We showed him tough love. Like in that moment, we showed him tough love. I always feel like he really had his big comeback when the Fare Thee Well shows happened, because he knew he couldn't blow that. He's like, if I blow this, dude, it's going to, I don't know what's going to come after this, but he got it together. And then the whole, isn't it crazy, you guys, that Dead and Company did 10 years worth of show? That's crazy.
Bonkers.
Yeah, no, that was great. And probably better than some of the Dead shows I saw, man. I mean, they were so freaking good.
Yeah, they really were. They really were good. The shows I just saw in Golden Gate Park were really good too. It was like, Yeah, it's just hard, Winks. But I'm having a hard time, like I said earlier, just thinking that we're never going to get to do that again. Like
no. Because there's no other band. I mean, maybe Springsteen, but I don't even want to say anything bad there. But I haven't heard shit about any tours with him either. So I'm like, come on, man, let's get something going on the book. Somebody,
Right?
And
he might be the only one left that I'd be like super pumped about. Like you could be like, oh, like this band is like, fill in the blank, Fish, whatever they're playing. I'm like, cool, I'll see them, but I'm not gonna have that same. I can't fucking wait. I can't wait to see whoever I see there. I'm so looking forward to like meeting up with you guys and this. It's just not going to be the same. Like, yeah, I'll go,
Right.
But it's
Right.
not,
Yeah.
it's like I only ever had, basically planning a whole damn year around when like, I got to save money because I know Bobby's going to be in town at some point, and I want to see as many shows as possible.
That goes back to what we were saying before about the youthful exuberance of Bob, and how it just seemed like he was going to be around for a long, long time, carrying that torch, and
he was.
And he did right up until the end. Yeah.
Right. But that's the thought I'm having the hardest time grasping, is just like, wow, just like that, bam. It's and hey, John Mayer can do whatever the hell he wants to do, and he was a great partner in crime for Bobby. And if he wants to carry on some type of torch with O'Teal and Jay Lane and whoever, go for it, and Mickey and but I just think, like, I always looked at Bobby, and I was telling Paulie at the beginning of the show, he felt like he had that immortal, kind of like almost like like an action hero kind of a thing,
Kung Fu Bobby, you know what I mean?
Well, dude, actually, Bobby wore capes. I was going to say put him in a cape, but Bobby, you didn't have to. He wore a cape on his own.
I mean, you know how badass that is? The more I think about that, the more I love it that he just did not give a damn about like how he was perceived. Well, oh, Bobby, you can't walk on stage. You want to bet, yo? Like the cowboy hat, dude, the poncho. He looked like a prospector. I'm like, dude, you know what, Bobby? You do whatever you got to do up there, but nobody else is that egoless that they would actually walk on stage like that. He just didn't care. He truly did not care how he appeared to the masses. He was just up there to give you the music. And I mean, I guess we're all pretty lucky we got to do all that together, because it's not going to be something that you can explain to people. Like, it'll be hard to explain it to somebody who's never been in that, directly linked to a Grateful Dead show or anything Bob Weir was doing. And I'm just going to miss it, man. I'm going to miss it. And you and I, Winks, we logged a lot of miles, bro. Lot of miles for our shows. And you're right, on the phone all the time. All right, I'm going to RFK. I'll be at Giant Stadium. I'll be at the Metal. We would always be like kind of comparing tour schedules and stuff, because Winks would be down hitting the South a lot. Then I'd be up hitting the city shows and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, talk about that too. I mean, you guys touched on that earlier, like pre-cell phone. I mean, just think about like all the stuff that had to go right when we would be like, okay, Sunday, I'll meet you at RFK at the football helmet at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, so, and it worked.
I was going I'm coming 3 hours, you're coming 5 hours, and like no accidents. We didn't run out of gas, no blown tires, nothing. Somehow at 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
there we were.
Yeah, totally. And what a great feeling. Winks, yeah.
And like we hadn't seen each other in 6, 7, 8 months.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember message boards? Like literally, like you would post a message on like a cork board at a festival or at a show saying, "Hey, this is for Winks. Winks, if you read this, I'll be section 302, row 4. Come find me." I used to cruise by message boards. This is obviously pre-cell phone. Like that's how you would post up. Winks, I was telling Paulie the story back in the day, seeing Fish on the East Coast, and I needed a ride down to Hampton from MSG, and I basically took a Frisbee with my cell phone number and threw it across the arena and watched my Frisbee fly, and people taking my number down to try and get a ride down to Hampton. It's like those kinds of, and I never took the ride because the calls I got were pretty bonkers, but that type of I don't know, like we talked about it, and Bonnie talked about it at the beginning of the show, the community, man.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, I did the same thing. I was at, that's one of our favorites. Is I was at Landover.
Oh,
And it
dude.
was like my start of my spring break.
Yeah.
And I this is how much of a douchebag I was too. I was my spring break, and I had dirty laundry that I was going to bring home, and I didn't even have a suitcase, so I had it in a trash bag. So there's asshole me going to a Dead show with a trash bag full of dirty clothes.
Nice.
I'm like keeping with me, and then at the end of the show, I got a ride to Landover from Virginia Beach, but I didn't have a ride to Jersey, so I just stood at the exit with the sign that just said New Jersey.
The
And
greatest.
somebody like picked me up in my trash bag. And
No,
took me
and
back
wasn't
home
it
and
like
took me home.
wasn't it on the bottom of one of those like cardboard kind of bottoms you would have on the case of Budweiser? It's like if you got like a case of Bud in cans, they would give you that little cardboard thing to carry it out in. Winks is just standing there holding the cardboard. New Jersey. Hey, listen, all I know is you were at Giant Stadium. You made it up there. So that's that you made it, dude.
Yeah, it was crazy. That was the best. And yeah, there's like so many dumb stories, like the road trip stories too.
Oh.
It was just breaking down and hitchhiking to get to a show. Man, just dumb stuff. Fun.
I think I know the answer to this question, but I want to ask both of you guys this. Like, do you think that guys like Bobby knew just how big of an impact he had?
I do, but I don't think he liked thinking about it or talking about it. I don't think he would want to go there like in his head. But yeah, sure, I think he knew because he could look out and see what was in front of him. Like stadiums full of people, and that never really changed over the years, whether it was on stage at the Sphere or Madison Square Garden or any given stadium or a bar or a club. Like Bobby was, I think he knew. I do, but I think he was like allergic to talking about like the impact he had on people. He just wasn't down. He wasn't down with talking about himself. You know what I mean? Like that was not his thing. David Lee Roth, he was not. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I think that's the secret to their longevity too, though. Right?
Yeah.
We're in it for the music. Like John Mayer's post, he said, "I'll meet you in the music. Come find me anytime." And it's like, right there. Like it's all about the music, man. And Paul, you said that at the beginning of the show, like Bobby was all about the music, and man,
that's I think kind of what Aaron Redner was saying too, which is like I said, what did you take from Bobby or the Dead that you put into your own life as a musician? Because he's a full-time musician, Aaron Redner, and he said, watching the Grateful Dead taught me how to like relax on stage. Like you don't have to have pyro, you don't need a laser show, you don't need like dry ice. You don't have to do splits and jump off the amps. You can just stand there and give people the music. Just do it honestly, and it'll translate. And I thought that was pretty cool that he said that. All right, boys, listen, I think we've taken this as far as we can go tonight. Winks, thank you for the time. I wasn't going to do the show without you. And there's a lot of other friends of ours that we, don't have on tonight, but we're just, just a couple of the faces out there. And Tony, of course, thank you too. And thanks to everybody for stopping by. Ali Martinez, Triple E, Aaron Redner. Who am I forgetting, Tony? I know I'm forgetting somebody already.
Bonnie, Scarlet Fire.
Scarlet Fire. Thank you, dear. Yeah, the great Bonnie stopped by tonight. So, yeah, man, just do your best, Winks. Keep the music playing. That's what I've been doing. I've been listening to a lot of Grateful Dead. I'll continue to do that. Getting a nice Black-Throated Wind in you, or Let It Grow, or whatever you need, a Cassidy. There's somebody, maybe it's a monkey. Hey, Winks, maybe it's a Monkey and the Engineer. Who knows? Maybe it's a race. But I saw the races on once. I got one at Madison Square Garden. I got it once. Yeah. What was
maybe it's an Esau.
I never got an Esau. I never got one. Did you?
I don't know. I have to go look at. I got to go look at my my wink base.
Yeah, wink space. There's a real thing. Believe me, there's a real thing. I've seen it.
Seriously, Winks? There's a wink base?
Yeah. Like this is again pre-internet, so I was just sitting there like looking at, remember they had the Dead base, that big almanac.
Of course.
I like went through that and just went through every single show that I went to, and then like made like this is how many songs, this is how many times I saw playing in the band. How many times I saw China Rider. These are all the venues. These are all the opening acts.
We had a funny little a dust up at the Hollywood Bowl a couple of years ago. So I think it was it was right after the pandemic was lit. So 2021, I'm down at the Hollywood Bowl. I got Winks, I got Brian Connors, I got Wendy Connors, and we were sitting there. I'll never forget this. And they played, this is Dead and Company, and Dead and Company played High Time. And I was like, oh, dude, I go, hey, Winks, I go, just so you know, this is and it was true. I go, this is the first time I've ever seen High Time in person anywhere, any band ever. And you were like, no way, dude, no way. I go, I'm telling you. And you go, this is what Winks, he goes like this, Tony. He goes, I'm going to have to go home and check the wing space on this. I go ahead, check the wing space. But I'm telling you, dude, this is my first High Time. And it was, and I was right. So yeah, man, thank you, Winks, for coming on tonight, bro. Always a pleasure. Tony, thank you. Karen Bell, Don Peralta, Will Sparks, Rags in New Jersey, all of you guys. Jeff Faust, thanks at Rising Wolf, all of y'all. Thank you guys. Don Peralta, especially. Thanks for doing the art for tonight, Dom, and everything else. Tony, final words. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I feel like if you don't mind me directing the end of the show, Paul, I want to show something that Dom just sent me real quick. And then I also just would love to play that Sports Center tribute. We can say goodbye and then play that, and that can be the end of the show. Yeah. But first of all, I wanted to share. Dom is, he's the art director of the show, and Dom already started working on a sketch of Bobby, and he's been working on an Ozzy one as well. But he said this Bobby one has really come flowing through him, and he just sent this sketch already. So he's been working on that today. So that's what he's got so far. So I just wanted to share that on the show. That's Dom just doing his thing, right? And
I like that. I like that a lot.
Cool? Isn't that cool? So, Dom, thanks for sharing that, buddy, and thanks for sending that along. Because I asked him, I said, hey, are you okay sharing it when it's not completed? He said, hell yeah, I'll show people the process. That's great. And I said, so Dom, thanks for sending that in. And, we're so lucky to have Dom as a part of the show as the art director as well. So I wanted to share that. And then, I'm not going to play Diamond Dave tonight. I'm not going to play Business Time. I think we should all say goodnight, and then I can share the screen and play. Let me just set it up here. Yeah, and I can just play the Sports Center tribute to Bobby, and we can say goodnight, and then we'll see. All right, y'all.
Thanks for coming on, everybody. Scarlet Fire, Soccer Bowl, Sweet Mad Hatter, Noemi, Patty, Nutter. I see you all. Thank you, guys. Thank you for spending some time with us tonight. Remembering Bob Weir. We all love the guy, and hopefully this did a little bit of good for all of us. I know I needed this. Karen Bell, you have a nice night. Yeah, fare thee well to you, too. All right, Tony, take us home, brother. Let's see the ESPN report. Winks, talk to you soon, bro. Cheers,
Winks. Thank you, brother. Thanks for coming on, man. So good to see you, dude. Always. Joyous and pain. Joyous and pain. That's all you gotta remember.
Totally.
Here, stand by. Let me just set this up, you guys, real quick. And yeah, there it is. And we can check this out and say goodnight. All right, there it is.
See everybody tomorrow at high noon, y'all.
Yeah, here we go.
Weir, guitarist, singer, and founding member of the Grateful Dead, has died at age 78. In a statement, his family said Weir had beaten cancer but succumbed to underlying lung issues. Weir joined the band in 1965 at just 17 years old.
Trev, the Dead were known as the kings of psychedelic rock, selling millions of records, entertaining maybe the most dedicated fans of music at concert worldwide for decades. Weir was a passionate sports fan, known for following San Francisco teams. He called himself, quote, a pathological fan of the 49ers. He said it started during childhood. Weir often wore Niners gear on stage, was a regular on the sideline at big games. In 2014, Weir compared his music to the 49ers dynasties.
I love playing in bands. Everybody has to feel each other and work with each other and improvise as one. Any of the other greats in 49er history had something of that quality. They love the game for what football is. It's such a complex sport. You need your buddies to do exactly what you know they're going to do. You have to improvise in a way that your other guys are going to understand it and be able to intuit what you're going to be doing. And that's what makes greatness. And the 49ers were able to achieve that. That's when football gets really good. It's glorious to watch.
49ers tight end George Kittle, on the eve of playing the Eagles in Philadelphia, on his IG story posted a picture of Bob with a broken heart emoji. Weir's from the Bay Area, but on the East Coast, he was honored by the Empire State Building, donning tie-dye colored lights in honor of Bob.
Oh, boy.
Survived by his wife, Natasha, and their daughters, Monet and Chloe. Bob Weir, dead at age 78.
Yeah.
Peace, y'all. Tomorrow, high noon.